What's up, guys? It's MB Boxing, and today I'm going to be predicting the outcome of Oleksandr Usyk versus Anthony Joshua 2, and this is going to be a 12-rounder for the WBA, WBO, and IBF Heavyweight World Championship, and this fight is going to be Saturday, August 20th from the Jeddah Superdome in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, and this fight is going to be broadcasted on DAZN. And to get both fighters' resumes, Oleksandr Usyk, fighting out of Ukraine, holds a very nice record of 19 wins with no defeats and 13 wins coming by way of knockout. He's currently ranked number 1 by BoxRec in the heavyweight division. When he was at cruiserweight, he was number 1, and currently pound for pound, he's ranked number 1 on many people's lists. And to list some of his accolades before getting into his excellent resume, he's a World Boxing Super Series Cruiserweight champion, where he won the tournament against some of the best guys in the world in the Cruiserweight division at the time. He's also a former Olympic gold medalist. He fought in the heavyweight division in the Olympics in London 2012. Won gold, obviously, as I mentioned before. He's also a former undisputed Cruiserweight world champion, and he's a current unified heavyweight world champion, as he holds all 3 of the titles on the line here, and also the Ring Magazine title is on the line as well. But to list some of his best wins, he has defeated former Cruiserweight World Champion Krzysztof Glowacki by a clear unanimous decision. He's also knocked out former world title challenger Thabiso Mchunu, who's currently a top 5 rated cruiserweight right now by BoxRec, I believe so. He's also defeated current top 10 to top 15 ranked heavyweight as of now, where he defeated Michael Hunter by a wide unanimous decision, and he actually almost stopped him in the last round of their fight. He's also knocked out former Cruiserweight World Champion Marco Huck. He's defeated now former IBF Cruiserweight World Champion Maurice Breedis by majority decision. He's also defeated at the time when he defeated Mark Gassiev by a shutout unanimous decision. It was in the final of the World Boxing Super Series, and Gassiev was a unified champion at the time and undefeated. And another one of his great wins at cruiserweight is where he knocked out former WBC Cruiserweight champion Tony Bellew. That was a very nice stoppage, very nice win for him. And at heavyweight, he defeated Derek Chisora by a unanimous decision, and he sort of weathered an early storm from Chisora, battled back, fought very nicely and won. And then obviously the big ticket win, which was a clear-cut unanimous decision victory over Anthony Joshua in their first fight, which was a very, very good win for him, obviously, probably the best of his career thus far. But to get his opponent's resume, Anthony Joshua, very well known these past few years. He's got a record of 24 wins with 2 defeats and 22 wins coming by way of knockout. He's from London, England. He's currently ranked number 3 by BoxRec in the heavyweight division, definitely around that top 3, 100%. He's a former Olympic gold medalist. He's also the former 2-time unified heavyweight world champion, obviously winning those titles on separate occasions. I'll get into that later. Obviously, I'm sure most of you guys know why, but really the main reason is why. It gets into his 2 losses, as he lost to Andy Ruiz Jr. in one of his reigns as unified champion, which was one of the biggest upsets in really heavyweight boxing history, and he obviously lost to Oleksandr Usyk in their first fight, as I mentioned before. But to list some of his best victories, he has a very, very good resume for considering this past decade's competition in the heavyweight division. He's got a very solid resume, as he's beaten the likes of Dillian Whyte by knockout, who's a former interim heavyweight champion. He's also defeated, or actually I think Whyte is the current interim, former interim heavyweight champion. He knocked out Dillian Whyte. He also knocked out former heavyweight world champion Charles Martin. He knocked out former world title challenger Dominic Breazeale. He also defeated Eric Molina, who's a former world title challenger as well, by knockout. He was able to defeat the former long-reigning heavyweight world champion Vladimir Klitschko by knockout in one of the best fights of 2017. He was also able to knock out Carlos Takam. He was able to relatively shut out former WBO heavyweight world champion Joseph Parker, beating him by unanimous decision. He also was able to knock out former WBA heavyweight champion Alexander Povetkin. That was a very, very nice win for him. And he was also able to defeat Andy Ruiz in their rematch, where he pitched a shutout. And he knocked out Kubrat Pulev, who's a former world title challenger, and that was a brutal knockout and a nice comeback fight for Joshua in December of 2020. But in my opinion, this fight is really just one of the most hype fights of summer 2022 for boxing, and it really is for good reason. I mean, this is the heavyweight championship of the world. Almost all the marbles are on the line here. 3 of the 4 main titles, and this is a big rematch. Their first fight really sold. A lot of people watched it. It was an excellent fight. Obviously, Usyk won clear, but I wonder how Joshua will change up his game plan. Joshua is obviously going in with that trainer change. Now I believe he is with Robert Garcia, so he's trying to implement a sort of come forward more more aggressive style, and more of a body snatcher style where he goes to the body more and really just bombards Usyk and tries to not let him breathe. He's sort of going to fight with that Mexican style that's really trained in the Robert Garcia camp. I mean, and that style has worked very well for a lot of the fighters, like Virgil Ortiz, who's just got a very nice win over Michael McKinson. He's 19-0 with 19 knockouts. It worked well for Mikey Garcia for most of his career. Yeah, I mean, it's worked for a lot of their fighters as well. So, I mean, I wonder how a heavyweight like Joshua is going to implement that sort of aggressive body attack game plan as like a 6'6" heavyweight to the shorter man. But it's just going to be very interesting to see because, I mean, Oleksandr Usyk, I mean, he just has one of the best styles in boxing. Very good defense, very solid offense with his timing and speed. I mean, he's just really the whole package. I mean, he does have that cruiserweight build, like not that tall, not that heavy, but it seems like he's put on a bit more muscle mass for this fight. And considering like what's going on in his home country, I think that's going to give him some more drive actually to win this fight as well. And I mean, even if all that stuff didn't happen, I still think he would have won this fight. And this just adds more fuel to the fire. And I really think he's just going to be more motivated, more hungry for a win for his people. And I really think it's just going to be a very good showing for Usyk. But I think Joshua will put up a very good fight. I just am very interested to see how he'll fight. Because if he comes forward aggressive, it just depends how his game plan is executed. If he comes forward a bit sloppy, Usyk as a very good counter puncher, boxer puncher, and has very good timing, he could just catch Joshua cold, get him hurt, get him wobbled, and stop him sometime late in the fight. And I think, yes, this fight will go late, could go the distance, but I'm actually I'm actually picking Oleksandr Usyk to defeat Anthony Joshua by a late stoppage victory. I think that this new game plan with Robert Garcia is sort of going to be short-lived because, I mean, he's been really fighting the same style that his trainer McCracken's been really implementing with him for years. That's sort of high-rise European style, not like obviously Klitschko, the jab and grab, but it's sort of just the high-rise 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, just stuff like that. Throw the uppercut here and there when you have openings. It's really that type of style. But I don't think he's going to fight, obviously, like how he did against Ruiz in the rematch, because yet again, Oleksandr Usyk is not Andy Ruiz. He's not sort of a plotter that's going to stand there and come forward on you. I mean, Usyk's never done that unless he hurts you. I mean, he's a very smart, technical, one of the most technical and smart fighters in the game today. Him and Lomachenko are definitely one of them, and are definitely one of the best at that. And I mean, Oleksandr Usyk is definitely going to show that here. I really think he's going to box very nicely, be very technical, and just to break this fight down, round by round. The first fight, I mean, really Usyk was pitching a shutout after like the first 4 or 5 rounds. I mean, he was doing really well. Maybe Anthony Joshua won one of those rounds after like the first 5, and I think that's going to be the same. I think Oleksandr Usyk is going to just outwork Anthony Joshua in the first half of this fight. I think he's going to land the bigger and better shots. I think Joshua is just going to miss a lot, going to get countered a lot, and I think that after 6 rounds, or even 5 rounds, like let's say after 5 rounds, it's going to be 49-46 in my opinion, in favor of Oleksandr Usyk. Maybe Joshua could get the first round, which could be a feel-out round. He might land the right hand here or there in the first couple rounds. It might edge a round that Usyk's sort of feeling out and finding where he could land some more shots on this sort of new blend of Anthony Joshua's styles that he's coming into this fight with. He's going into it with his sort of high-rise style and this sort of new come-forward body punching style. I mean, we're just going to see how it is. And, I mean, Oleksandr Usyk, he's shown that he has a great chin. So, I mean, I do think it's smart that they're going to try and go to the body a bit more in this fight for Joshua and his team. But it's just going to have to be implemented perfectly. Because, I mean, if it's not, it could lead to just a really bad night for Joshua. And yeah, I think after 5 rounds, it could be 49-46 for Oleksandr Usyk, which is 4 rounds to 1. And I think that this fight will definitely go 8 rounds or more. And I think that Oleksandr Usyk will get a late stoppage, and I'll tell you why. So I think in the middle rounds, Usyk will do a bit more of the same. Joshua might edge around here or there, and I think that, let's just say, after 7 rounds, maybe, yeah, like after 7 rounds, I mean, Joshua might get 2 rounds in there. It could be 68-65 in favor of Oleksandr Usyk. Probably not like a 69-64. I think that might be a bit too wide, because that's just saying Oleksandr Usyk gets all those rounds. I definitely think that Joshua might edge around here or there, just outworking Usyk whenever Usyk's taking off a bit. But I do think this will be a very, very good fight. Obviously, I'm just very excited for it. It's the heavyweight championship of the world. And just comment down below your thoughts on this fight and who you think is going to win. Yeah, after 7 rounds, it could be a pretty tight scorecard. Like, I know 68-65 is Joshua trailing by 3, but it could be something like that where Joshua might edge 2 rounds here or there. But I don't think anyone will really get shaken up in those first 7 rounds. I think it will just be Usyk, just like the first fight. Usyk boxing, landing the better punches, being more technical. But instead of Joshua trying to be a boxer puncher like the first fight and trying to pinpoint his shots and trying to tattoo Usyk with shots, he's not going to try and do that. He's going to try and come forward, and you might edge a couple rounds doing that. That's why I think he'll get maybe 2 rounds, somewhere around there. After 7. But then from rounds 8 to rounds 12, I really think Usyk is going to start to pick up the pace, just like the first fight. He almost actually stopped Joshua in the first fight in the 12th round, because Joshua was a bit gassed, and Usyk was just, his gas tank is just very, very good. So he was just able to come forward, land the bigger and better shots on Joshua. And I do think that Joshua might edge another round. Like, let's say, I know I said it could be 68-65. It could be 67-66 for Usyk, actually. Like, considering how some judges could have it, one judge could definitely have it that close. And if this fight does go to the scorecards, which my prediction is that it will not, but if it does, I would imagine Usyk will get a 9-3, 117, 111 decision, somewhere around there. But obviously, I don't think it will go to the scorecards, and I think that anywhere from rounds 8 to rounds 12, Joshua will get caught with a straight left, just like in the first fight, like in round 12. Joshua will buckle a bit. Usyk will go in for the kill. Joshua will be staying on the ropes, not defending himself intelligently. The referee could wave it off. Joshua could go down, take a knee, and then just not give good body language, which could lead the ref to stop it, something like that. I don't think Joshua's going to get hit with one shot and knocked out cold. It's just going to be an accumulation of shots that leads to a stoppage win for Oleksandr Usyk, and I think it will be in the later rounds from rounds 8 to rounds 12. So, like I said, comment down below your thoughts on this fight. This is definitely one of the biggest fights of this year, actually. And just like I said, obviously, comment down below who you think is going to win, and what do you think is next for either man, depending on who you think is going to win. So overall, I believe that Oleksandr Usyk will be able to successfully defend his current unified heavyweight world titles, as I think he will get yet another victory over Anthony Joshua. But this time, I think it will be a stoppage win from rounds 8 to rounds 12. And yeah, that's really it. I'm MB Boxing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.